Welcome to another episode of Inside City Hall, the official podcast of the City of Oregon City, where we give you the who's, the hows, the whys, and all that fun stuff about how your community operates. I'm your host, Jared Lyman, the communications manager for the city, and today I'm joined by a little bit of a first, our first non-city employee guest for the podcast. I am joined by Brianna Nizic, who is the current chair of the Youth Advisory Commission. Brianna, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
So first off, let's go right into what exactly the Youth Advisory Commission is. This is your second term, first year as the chair. So in that time, what have you kind of, in your words, what has the Youth Advisory Commission been all about?
For me, first of all, it's been a way to interact and have a say in what's going on. And so we learn about what different parts of the city is working on, what different groups are doing. And we also are organizing different events and stuff that we feel is important to other people our age. And so we're taking that information and we're thinking about what can we do with this? And so we form events to do with that. But not only that, we are also learning about how city governments work and learning about how different policies or how different decisions go into play and how it actually plays out. And so it's been both really informational and very fulfilling with what we want to do.
That's one of the things that struck me is when I've gone to these meetings and before Hannah's come aboard and taken things off of my shoulders, thank you, Hannah, is that we would schedule these presentations from different department heads that'd be like, okay, just 20 minutes. And then it would end up being almost like 2 hours long as you guys asked so many just really insightful, well-informed, really inquisitive questions that honestly went a lot deeper than a lot of people would give just a normal resident, let alone the youth. So, I mean, it kind of gives that, hey, we're in good hands in the future. But that's really been something interesting. So as you've moved forward, you've heard from, I think, probably all the departments now for the most part. What has been kind of the most eye-opening part for you? What are you just like, oh, so this is how this functions?
I think one of the biggest things isn't specifically like from one department, but getting over the notion of how I always thought it was so easy to have something that's like, I want to do this. I always thought it would be easy to go from the I want to do this to the completed and fulfilled thing. And just learning how intricate it actually is and how many steps play into it, and that your I want doesn't always become an actual thing, and that's not always a bad thing, that there are certain things that go into it. And just learning about that has really shaped how I view just policies and policymaking in general, not just for city level. And so I feel like it's been very, very beneficial for me, at least, to come to that realization.
All right, putting you on the spot a little bit, because as we said, you are a senior, so you're going to be moving on from high school here just in another month or two, actually. After having this experience, has that shaped kind of your plans, your goals for the future moving on at all, or is that just maybe kind of like even further solidified what you've wanted to do?
When I was younger, I definitely considered taking a part in governments, but I always thought it was going to be like only state or national. I definitely have had this experience, definitely has had me consider more of city level, and I have. It definitely hasn't solidified anything that I've wanted to do, but it has definitely shaped my thought process when it comes to what I want to do. And it has also opened some doors that I didn't know were there in the first place.
One of the really, I think, just exciting things watching this group has been because the group is tasked with putting on a community-focused service event. The first year, your group put on the mental health fair.
Yeah.
And that was really fascinating to see from a couple standpoints. Is one, seeing the youth viewpoint on what honestly is a mental health crisis, I'd say, in the country, not just our community. And also seeing it from your perspective and how it can affect people as they're moving through that very formative stage of life that you're in. what kind of informed the process, informed the decision for your group to focus on that for the first event last year? What was really went behind that, and what were your thoughts and goals for making that happen?
So, from what I heard, just the conversations of what we wanted to focus on, it started out by focusing on what was impacting students, and a big issue was low attendance rates. And so, using that information, we dived more into what is the cause of these low attendance rates in schools and where it's coming from, because we knew it's not just students didn't care about school. There's more to it. And so, one thing that we noticed was mental health and the stress that school causes, as well as other factors, home life, work life, all of those different things. It really does put a toll on someone's health. And so focusing on that, we thought that we need to do something about mental health. And we know that we can't just decide to solve everything because it's way more complicated than that.
It'd be awesome if you could.
Yes, definitely. But we knew that we can bring resources and bring together the different organizations that are providing those resources. And so that's when we got the idea to hold a fair for it and just have different organizations from around the community come together and have booths to be able to give students resources.
I think one of the things that's just been really fun to see as this goes forward is that service-oriented mindset that your group has, and that carries through with this year's event, which is happening right now, and that's the high school clothing drive. Mm-hmm. So as we get into that, just kind of first describe what is, the high school clothing drive. What is a clothing drive? How does that work?
So first of all, a clothing drive, how it works is so people, especially when summer is coming around and they have a lot less need for winter clothes or just grew out of clothing, instead of just throwing it away or like sending it to someplace, we have set up different drop-off locations where they can bring that clothing and leave it there, and then in return, in a while later, we will set up a shopping event for students who are in need of clothing and may not have the resources or time to be able to get it from stores. They are able to go and they're able to look around and find what they need. And so it's a great opportunity for people to clean out their closets and if people need more clothing.
So what is it that you're looking for? Are you looking for casual stuff, school clothes, work clothes, all of the above? What is it that you really want to see donated?
Yeah, so a lot of it is the highest need items for like shoes. That is definitely one of the things that, everyone needs. Sweatshirts, jeans, t-shirts, athletic clothing, formal outfits, as well as stuff that people can wear to job interviews or work and stuff like that, because these are just a lot of the items that people need every day, and sometimes it is hard to get this, as well as like I said before, sweatshirts, just because the season is turning to be warmer, and so people might be able to get rid of old jackets more willingly. We also need just the essentials, underclothing and socks, stuff like that. But those are the items that we would want more to be new.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
We don't want used.
Yeah, so everything else we're looking at, new or gently used, except
Yes.
for the obvious things where you're like, no.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I noticed on the list was also like job interview and job attire. So, I mean, this is not just helping your peers at school, but also kind of helping them take those next steps as they go beyond school, correct?
Yes, definitely.
What I'm not even sure, because job interview attire, I mean, I don't know. It's been a while since I've been that age. What is considered job interview attire for that high school demographic?
I would mostly consider it just a little bit more formal than every day. So nice button downs are great, blouses. If it's jeans are a bit one of the finicky items for some people. Like jeans are formal enough, other people are not. So I guess slacks are more appropriate. But jeans, a nice pair of jeans also can work definitely. I'd say, yeah.
So that sounds like some good choices there.
Mm-hmm.
Where can people drop stuff off? Because I know we've got a few different options to make it convenient for people.
Yeah, so we have the City Hall. That's one of the drop-off locations. We also have the Oregon City High School, as well as the Jennings Lodge campuses. There are different days and times that these are opened. Do you want that as well? Or
Go ahead and say that. We'll also throw up a graphic for the people who are watching this on
okay.
YouTube. And if you're listening to it, then we'll have a link on the description so you can pick it up there. But yes, please.
Yeah, okay. So the Oregon City Hall, it is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The Oregon City High School, the donations will be accepted at the front office, and for high school students, outside the room of F1 to 8, that will be open as well during school hours. And school hours are Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And then the Jennings Lodge campus, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
So one thing that I've noticed is, which has been fantastic, we've seen some donations coming through already. So if you've already donated, I appreciate that. Thank you. But there's no like too big, too small. I mean, it's literally, you've got a shirt you don't need anymore. By all means, please bring that by.
Yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm.
We want it all. We want it all. Okay, so talk a little bit about the shopping event, how that's going to work, because I've never seen one of those.
So we are partnering with PTA Clothes Closet of Clackamas County, and together we'll be putting on it's free. It's not like actual, right? It's not actual. Yeah, it's not actual paying. So it's not. So yeah, it's just a free shopping event, and that is also at Jennings Lodge, and that's going to be at the end of May, and so it's for all high school students who need this.
So it's really interesting how this whole project idea came up. Is some of the members attended a symposium, I guess we'll call it, of similar peers from around the state at the state capitol. So before we kind of talk about that, because that was kind of a unique, fun event in itself, how did this event come from that experience?
Yeah, so during this event, we had a great opportunity to share different projects that each of the different commissions are working on. And so one of the things that we saw pop up a lot is youth houselessness. And there was a big discussion on what causes that at a certain table. We went around to talk about different issues. And so taking that back to our commission here, we had that brought up as it is a problem that is affecting a lot of students. And not just students who are experiencing houselessness, but also those who are having problems with being able to be financially stable in their families. And so we decided going from there that's what we wanted to focus on. And so we thought about focusing on just basic essentials of what people need. And one of the things is just clothing. You really have, without proper attire for work or job interviews or schools, it's so damaging both to being able to attend those things, but also having the confidence that everyone needs to be able to succeed, I guess.
No, that's really well said, because it's one of those situations where one gap, one missing piece of that puzzle can cause other pieces to fall away.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you're in this situation that's seemingly insurmountable. And clothing may often be very overlooked in that puzzle, because, with clothes that don't fit, or with shoes that hurt, or whatever, it's hard to concentrate. It's hard to study. It's hard to get those jobs.
Yeah.
And those just create this feedback loop. So this is something that, a lot of people may think this is very basic, but that very basic foundation is the foundation that the house of success is built, if I can really come up with a very beleaguered analogy there.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like, meeting with your peers from around the state? Because it had to be really eye-opening. There's got to be a lot of similarities in what communities are dealing with, but also a lot of differences as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering correctly, we were starting our second term, I'm pretty sure, when we went.
It was right about that, yeah, I think so.
And so we're fairly new, and there's some other people who were there at the event that have been doing this for a long while and are very knowledgeable in what they've been doing and, just have been doing it for a while. And so it was very interesting to go, and this was our first time attending the Youth Summit activity, and we were able to go and just see how other groups worked and how they were formatted and how they chose what they were going to do. And so we were able to hear from each and every group represented there and what they were focusing on. And so we talked about what we had done with the mental health fair, but we also got to hear about what other people are working on. So that's where we heard about the teen houselessness. We also heard about other issues that are being talked about in other cities. So it was very eye-opening to just hear about what other cities are focusing on, as well as what other schools, because it was definitely a thing that got brought up, is how different schools are experiencing similar and different problems. And we were able to go to different tables that focus on a different issue. Like one of them, for example, was social media. And so someone who was a specialist in social media in regard to teens and school and stuff like that, they were there. And so we were able to share our ideas and what we've seen in our own communities, in our own schools, and they were able to use the information that we gave them to then talk to us about it from a professional standpoint. And so it was a trade of ideas. They got to hear from students who've been experiencing this, and we got to hear from someone who knows the logistics a lot better. And so there were multiple different tables like that, and we just got to share ideas and learn new things from other students that we previously would not have been able to.
I think one of the other really cool things that came from that ended up being a meeting that you had a couple months later, and that was having a presentation from one of our state representatives. I mean, at your level, that's got to be kind of cool to realize you're getting attention from the state, where sometimes it feels as adults we never get that. So that had to be a really interesting experience. What was that like?
It was really, really cool. I personally have been looking forward to it for a while, and it was really cool being able to ask questions to her, and I noticed that a lot of the questions weren't just about what does your job look like, and just the basic things, but also a lot of the questions were very pointed at different ways that, the election processes and different specific policies that have been targeted. And it was just really cool talking about how different issues are tackled on on a larger level and a larger scale. And it was just really cool listening and hearing about all of the different processes and ways, and hearing about the committees, that sort of thing.
And I mean, once again, is another one of those cases that your group asked some questions that were really, really insightful, and again, put some good faith in the coming future. So, as I mentioned earlier, you're a senior. Mm-hmm. Your time on the commission is running out. Yeah. What are your thoughts as you're moving forward? What are you thinking you're going to be doing? Do you have any plans? Are you still trying to figure it out? And how, if at all, do you think your experience at the Youth Advisory Commission is going to kind of guide you as you move forward?
So I don't really have a concrete plan. I know where I'm going next year, but I don't know anything after that. I'm not sure. My hope is that it doesn't matter what community I stay in, if I stay in Oregon City for the rest of my life or move on, my hope is that once I have a structured job and I'm fine and it's all stabled, unless it's in government anyway, then that's another story. Then I do want to get involved in things like this. And just even if it's school level, like the school board, even if it's something like that, I do want to stay involved in being able to share my voice and hear from other people and have informed conversations and then also make things happen. And so this experience has really amplified that. And so that has really impacted.
Sounds like the Youth Advisory Commission's goal is being met. That's
Yes.
that's good to hear. So as we close out, going back real quick to the clothing drive, give the website for everybody that they can go to get more information, learn where to donate, and all that stuff.
Yeah, so that is at the Or City, so orcity.org/clothing/drive. And so we will have more information on that to come. There's already some information there. And so, yeah, any questions probably answered there.
And then the deadline again is May 23rd. So
Yes.
assuming you're listening to this right about the time I post it, you've got a little less than a month. If it's closer to May 23rd, hurry, you're running out of time. Brianna Nizic, the chair of the Youth Advisory Commission, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it, and for sharing your experiences and putting so much of your effort forth for your community at such a young age. It's very, very impressive, and again, very heartwarming to see. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for listening to the latest episode of Inside City Hall. We will speak to you next time. Have a good one.